When I was growing up, I thought for sure I was going to college. Like not going sounded crazy. And I kind of came up in the generation where we were told, and I completely believed it, that if you don't go to school, you will not be successful. And even like the community college in our neighborhood, which is Moore Park College, I remember hearing about people older than me that were going to go to Moore Park. I remember thinking like, oh yeah, you're going there? Yeah, you're not going to be anything. Like it was just, that was kind of the viewpoint. And so I definitely came up at a time where you didn't question if college was worth it or not. You either went and you were going to actually make some money, or you didn't and we just expected you kind of not to. So a lot has changed in the last 15 years. College has become more expensive. More and more people struggle with student debt. It's a full problem now. And also information has changed. Like technology has opened the door for a new way for us to learn. I mean, we can learn anything we want sitting here with our phone in front of our hand. I mean, it's become more accessible. So I think now more than ever, the question of is college worth it is probably as relevant as it's ever been. So that's what we're going to address today. Should you go to college and will you see a return? Before we get started, we're going to ask for you to hit the like button, hit the subscribe. You know what it does, triggers the algorithm. But also we have about 1,500 new subscribers to our channel. So for all the new people involved in our community, we are stoked you're here. And also because this is a video based on college and there's so many people going through this kind of big decision right now, if you have anyone who's basically deciding if they should go to college or not, send them this video. I think there's going to be a lot of value in this one. So let's get started. If you are going to be a doctor or a lawyer or a teacher, engineer, a career where you have to go to school, you have no option. And this video, truthfully, is not for you. This is for people moving into a career where college isn't mandatory. And for all of them, I think the number one question that we need to ask, which we just don't, is why am I going to college? If you noticed, especially if you're a kid in this position right now who's basically about to graduate, everyone's probably asking you where you're going to school. There's such an emphasis on where. A lot of times, your parents went to a certain school, you see pride in it, they're still wearing their sweatshirt from whatever school they went to. A lot of people still have the license plate. And as a parent, naturally, you kind of want to encourage your kids to do the things that you have or had a great experience in. And a lot of times as a kid, it feels like you're going to disappoint them by not going. But I would really, really recommend this. Don't tell people where you're going until you can answer why you're going, because this is such a major life decision now, and you really want to make sure if it's worth it. And without being able to say why, it's impossible to make the decision on if you should or shouldn't. I know it sounds a lot easier to just say, figure out why before you do it, because to figure out why you're going to school, you have to know what you want to do and a lot of times what you want to be. And at 18, that's hard. Like I remember thinking back, like when I was 18, I wasn't totally sure what I was going to do. And I was like kind of fortunate where I was skateboarding. Skateboarding kind of just turned into a career. And I remember thinking like, oh, I kind of dodged a bullet. Like I'm glad I don't have to figure this out yet. Now, I had to figure it out down the road, which was equally as hard. But what I really want to say is, if you don't know what you want to do yet, which is the why go to college, take a year off. Like I think a gap year is actually so valuable to figure out what you want to do. And there's nothing wrong with graduating, taking that year, and then, deciding to go to school the following year. Now, in a gap year, I'm not saying just like chill and like party and like have fun. I would use that time to like discover yourself, like, get an internship, start going to meetups, try to surround yourself by people who are maybe doing something of interest. So spend the whole year trying to discover if your interests are really something you want to do, or even passions. Like maybe there's something that you're passionate about and you can start going through kind of like, let's call it your due diligence phase to find out if this passion is even something that you want to create a career around. And then once you can kind of decide like, yeah, I like this. Yeah, I would like to see myself doing this. Then looking at college and going, okay, I want to get into marketing. this is the path I'm going down. Do I have to go to school or not? It makes it a lot easier to make the decision if school's worth it or not. Let's say you know what you want to do and college makes sense. Something to know is there's 5,300 colleges and universities throughout the nation, and every single one of them wants you as a student. So they're the product and you're the consumer. And think about how you sell a product. You market to everyone around you that your product is better than everyone else's, that you are missing out by not going, or the biggest one, that your future relies on it. So now all of a sudden you think that your future is going to suffer because you're not going to the better school, and that puts you in a position to feel like you need to spend more because your future relies on it. That's good marketing. That does not mean it's truth. There was actually a study done for kids who were accepted into Harvard and didn't go versus kids who did go. And they looked at 10 years after the fact. They found no difference in income, and probably more importantly, they found no difference in happiness. So don't let them brainwash you to think that if you don't go to a better school, that your income and happiness is going to be at a lower level. It's just not true. Now, when it comes to student loans, you have to be very careful with these things. I mean, they pass them out like it's candy. It's so different than when a bank lends on, let's say, a home or an apartment. They actually have to assess risk. When they give out student loans, there's no defaulting on them. They have you for life. So there's so much less risk to just go, yeah, I'll give them to everybody. I'm making money for the long haul. I mean, it's predatory lending at its finest. This means that you have to go through the same type of due diligence on the college you're going to that a bank would, go through us when they're giving us a loan. Like, do they go through everything? They look at the cash flow that the property produces. They look at us as managers, our credit. They want to require a certain amount of cash reserves or debt yield. They're only going to lend up to a certain percentage of the value of the property because they don't want to lose money. That's worst case scenario. You need to look at going to college through that same lens. If I go to college, how much money am I going to make going into the career that I'm going to? How much money do I make at 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? And how much am I going to be able to put towards paying off this loan as fast as possible? Ultimately, how you want to think of it is put your investor kind of lens on. Is going to college a good investment? What is going to be the return of my time and my money? And then assess your risk and go yes or no. That's pretty much the responsibility for you. What I think, I don't recommend you taking out student debt. I don't think it's worth it, but if you are going to, make sure you've created a financial plan so that you even can assess if it's worth it or not. If you're somebody who answered the why go to college and you came up with, no, doesn't make sense for me, this is the good thing. There is so much opportunity for you to make a lot of money without going to school. And I think one that's like really overlooked right now is trade schools. Trade school, you go for a specific trade, it's a fraction of the cost, it's a fraction of the time, and in a lot of different trades right now, there's a shortage. Like if you look at electricians specifically, 7,000 people join the workforce each year, 10,000 people retire. So that means demand is up, and when demand is up, that means prices go up and you get to make more money. A couple things to remember though when it comes to trade. One, you're going for a specific trade, which is awesome, but that trade doesn't necessarily transfer over into another field. So you want to be really clear that this is what you want to do, and also be mindful that you're not moving into an industry that might be disrupted by technology. You want to go into a field that's going to be here for a long time. So I would say consider those two things, but I actually feel really good about trade. I think that's an underserviced opportunity that's going to be big for a lot of people. The other cool thing about kind of this moment is alternative learning. Like you can learn anything you want right now. If you want to go to school for marketing, you don't need to go to school anymore. You can go online, find a course, and learn everything you need to know about the specific part of marketing you want to get into. If you want to learn about real estate, wholesaling, flipping, real estate investing, syndicating, all of that is online. You don't have to go to college to not only learn the skill, but then give you the tools you need to be successful. All of it is there for you. So I think that's another thing that's really exciting about this time. Also, I kind of talked about my belief when I was young and going to college and thinking that I could never make a lot of money not going to college. I graduated high school, went into skateboarding, which I was a pro skateboarder, yes. We were not basketball players or baseball. We don't make tons of money. And I was still able to, fortunately, start a business that ended up doing really well. The field I'm in right now, we manage real estate portfolios. We're in private equity. I have no diploma at all. So through my experience, I was able to accomplish more than I probably ever thought was even possible. No diploma. And anyone who knows me, like the two guys behind the camera that you guys don't get to see, they know there's nothing special about me. I wasn't a brainiac kid. I was somebody who just basically went out and tried and then applied. So hopefully you can use kind of my story as encouragement. If I did it, you could do it too. The other thing that you're seeing like really change right now is there's more and more companies that don't care about a diploma. Like, yeah, for me, I didn't go to college, so of course I'm not gonna really care about it, but if you come to our company and we are looking at maybe 2 people wanna work for us, one has a diploma and one doesn't, I don't care about the diploma. I just care about who can do the job better. That is it. And I think there's more and more people running companies like ours where they're less concerned about how you learn the talent and more concerned about the talent itself and how valuable you're gonna be to the overall company or organization. So I only think that trend is going to increase, which then in turn is, I think, gonna make college look less demanding for probably the majority of people. So to conclude, if you know anybody going through this, this moment where they're questioning if they should go to school or not, whether they're 17, 18 and going right out of high school, or even if you're a little bit older, didn't go to school and you're questioning going back. If you know anyone in that position, please send them this video. This is one that I think is a really hard decision to make. And a lot of times you see people not asking themselves the right questions to make the best decision. And I think this could help a lot of people. So please send them this video if you know anyone in that position. Thank you for being here. We're stoked to have you involved and just all the new people. Thank you guys. We'll see you guys in the next video.